Well, I'm out today. I think I mentioned it a few times in a couple of the videos that we put a trail camera up here on the cottonwood unit. It's that unit that we've sat over those soybeans a couple times and haven't seen really any really good deer movement. So I put a trail camera up in a spot where last, probably February, me and Brody came down and scouted and had some pretty good sign. Kind of not a random spot, but kind of more of a just put the camera there, see what happens type of a deal. But I went and checked it and it didn't have anything on it. A couple small bucks, little spikes, and just a few does. So probably gonna pull it because it doesn't look like there's anything there either. So there's this big cottonwood patch over here that I think the bucks might be in, but I'm not sure. Kind of losing a little bit of hope in this property, at least for the early season. So we're gonna move that trail camera to a spot that me and Brody hunted only during rifle season last year, and I almost shot a nice buck off of it. Brody was wind bumping, pushed the buck right to me perfect. He got behind a cedar tree and then all of a sudden took off. So we almost had a buck during rifle season last year, which was going to be sweet. I kind of forgot about this property because I put that whole experience out of my head because we're so close to getting one during the heavily hunted rifle season on public land. So that's the plan, headed in now to go get that camera. That's the trail camera right there. There's some big tracks on that trail, but there was nothing on this camera last time, so I'm pulling it this time no matter what. Guess if there's something big on there, then we know to come back. But there was nothing on it before, so just gonna pull that one and then walk back out of here, and then we'll head to the other property and start scouting that one. Well, got some pretty fresh tracks down here in this creek. Like I mentioned, there's this creek bottom that I'm in. There's a kind of grassy CRP, maybe 30-yard wide strip on either side, and then there's a big cornfield to my right, and it looks like there's a big soybean field to my left. So that's kind of how this sets up. This draw kind of runs all the way through, and then there's just a really big kind of big bottom, I guess you can call it. I'll show you that when I get to it. That sits just off this creek bottom. So that's really how it sets up. There's not a whole lot to it. Most of this area is cornfield or soybean field, and then, like I mentioned, small creek bottom and not big draw. So that's kind of how this sets up. I'll try to give you a better view when I get to a higher location, but we're seeing tracks, we're seeing deer sign already. We're not even back to the goods, really good area, so that's a good sign. Alright, so here's maybe a little bit better view of what we're looking at. We got soybeans right here, and then there's that big draw area, creek bottom, kind of that grassy strip, and then the cornfield all out over there. So that kind of shows you how it sets up. What we want to get to is that draw. There's a pond in there, and I'll show you where. We'll probably actually go to where that buck was bedded during rifle season, and just start scouting out that draw, because I think that's probably the best spot to be. So there might be soybeans right there, so we might have to walk that way. Looks like there's corn and soybeans mixed around, so we'll just have to find the most active soybean field, the most active area, go from there. Looking good right now though. I'm excited to get down in that draw. Got up here to the top, and one thing you notice is that from right here, like look how much we can see from pretty much every direction. If we have a wind coming this way back over the top of our head, it'd be a perfect spot for a bed right there. By itself makes me believe it's a buck, because if you get in this sucker and lay down, you can see everything. So if we were to hunt this deer, something we need to take notice of is our access for sure, because if he's bedded up here, odds are, even if he's not bedded here, he's got a bed around this edge or around that other edge, he's going to be able to see us because he can see from a long ways. Found a bed already, so it's definitely some deer using this area, so that's a good sign. Might be coming back here to Velvet Scout. We'll see what we find the rest of the afternoon here, see if we can't find a tree stand location. If nothing else, we'll find a spot to come Velvet Scout, kind of see if we can't tell where they're coming out at. But found a bed, probably a buck bed just based on the location, and it's by itself. So a good start. We're going to walk this edge around, then drop down in, probably, and work our way back to that opposite side. And here we're at that spot where that buck was bedded during rifle season. And again, it's just back to cedar trees. You can see out in front of him, wind blowing over the top, nothing's gonna get to him. Get up here and see if I can see where it's going. Yeah, there it is. It's still standing there. Chances just right up there. You should be able to get a shot, I think. Running that way now. So there's some active bedding on this property anyways, which is good to know for either this time of year or any time of year. So now hit this pond and see if there's any tracks down here. Well, that pond's got a lot of grass around it, not a lot of mud, so it makes it hard to see tracks or anything like that. So we'll just have to sit and velvet scout it and see if anything's using it that way. So which we can do that. So I'm gonna walk this pond and then come back and hit this thick stuff right here behind the GoPro. So we're walking up now to the back side, the opposite side of that big ravine. The soybean field kind of makes a U shape and goes around it, so you're not gonna be able to see it. But right now there's a deer out across in these soybeans. It looks big. I don't have binoculars, of course, or I didn't bring the DSLR. Every time I don't do that, we see one. It's, I don't know, 2 o'clock, so they could come out of those trees over there, they can come out of the bottom, so we might sit here tomorrow, depending on the wind. But we'll head down there, let that deer work off, and we'll head down there. But tracks up here, probably going to put the trail camera along the edge of these beans somewhere, because I didn't see, there's beds and stuff back there in that draw, but these soybean fields are going to be the ticket, at least this time of year. So good sign. We're going to work our way down the edge of the soybean field and see if we can't put that trail camera over there. So pretty decent tracks down here along this edge in the mud, so we'll go find a spot to hang this trail camera. There's a spot up here that I know had some rubs on it last year, and that kind of comes right out to this field, so that's probably where I'm going to hang this trail camera. We'll see when we get over there. There's tracks everywhere. So I think this is going to be a good velvet scout tomorrow, hopefully, so we'll see. Get this trail camera up too, hopefully we can catch a big guy on trail camera down here. It'd be sweet. There's tracks. There you go. Toe splayed out on that one. It's a buck track there, so man, can't wait to get back down here tomorrow night. You can't tell, it's hot and really humid. But we made it down to where that deer was down in here, and I was way up there on that hill. And I know there was deer coming through here last year. There's rubs and scrapes and stuff through here. And there's a nice tree right there, perfect for a trail camera. So we're gonna put the trail camera right there. This is kind of a pinch point, a cornfield, fence, creek bottom, opening right up to the soybeans. Great spot to catch a deer moving. So hang the trail camera here. That's why we're hanging it here. Obviously we've seen a deer out there. That helps us know to hang it here. The soybeans are there early season. We've seen rubs and scrapes and stuff here when we scouted it last year in October. So all that coming together. So we're putting the trail camera here. So we're gonna hang that trail camera up, and then I'll show you a spot up here where I think I'm going to sit because it's a little bit closer. Then we'll find a tree stand location for down here, because just in case they are coming through here, now we already know right where we're going. We're going to do a hanging hunt. So get that trail camera hung up now. Alrighty, well, camera up, pointed at this gap, so hopefully get something on there. It's turned on, ready to go, so we'll head out of here. So head out now, a little bit of a walk, but we'll head out of here. Hopefully be back tomorrow doing some velvet scouting, but the main goal of this scouting was just to see if it looked like there were deer using this property, and based on the tracks that are all right here, we've seen a deer out in the soybean field. There's actually soybeans here. We've seen some beds, and holy cow, in tracks like that. So based on that, it's definitely worth the velvet scout. And the good thing is there's lots of places on here that give us a really good view to do a really good velvet scout. So that was the goal, was just see what kind of sign we saw, and then based off that sign that we did or didn't see, we decided if we wanted to velvet scout it, and it looks like we want to velvet scout it. So like I mentioned, hopefully be back here tomorrow, do some velvet scouting. So head out now, and next time you see me, I'll hopefully be walking in, sitting under that cedar tree.